Rather, the main problem is location, not type. Although critters colonize all sections of our alimentary canal, the majority of bacteria is found in the large intestine, also known as the colon. There it assists in the final step of the digestive labyrinth and prepares waste matter for evacuation. The small intestine, on the other hand, is where your food intermingles with digestive juices, nutrients are absorbed into the bloodstream, and your body reaps the rewards of what you've just put into it. It's not a place where bacteria have much of a function. In fact, as is the case with SIBO, their presence can cause a lot of harm. Since these are living organisms with their own cravings, high numbers of bacteria in your small intestine means there are other mouths at the table competing for your dinner. When there's not enough nourishment to be had, they turn to the next best thing, your intestinal lining. The result is an increased permeability, also known as leaky gut syndrome, whereby larger food particles, instead of just essential nutrients, seep into the bloodstream. The downwind effect is often systemic inflammation, food sensitivities, and autoimmunity. Although you can have leaky gut, food intolerances, and an autoimmune disease without SIBO, it is not unusual for these conditions to be a package deal. Unwanted bacteria can also disrupt your quality of life in a host of other ways. As they eat your dinner, these critters release gas. Your small intestine was not designed to withstand the buildup, and it tends to get trapped, like a bicycle inner tube underneath your diaphragm, or released through burping or out the other end. You can also experience nausea from slowed stomach emptying due to the traffic jam, and classic hallmarks of irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, such as constipation or diarrhea. Even more insidious and sneaky are the changes that can occur to your weight and your mood. Depending on what type of bacteria is overgrowing, you might experience chronic weight loss or resistant weight gain, no matter how much or little you eat. Pounds seem to fall off or stick stubbornly like a puffer vest you can never take off. Since 90% of your serotonin is made in the gut, a damaged intestinal tract can also mean descending into an inexplicable fog of depression or feeling as if your life is being run by a humming undercurrent of anxiety. So what happens when all these inexplicable symptoms add up? Usually, someone will be given a blanket diagnosis of IBS. Thanks to the last decade of new research, experts in the field now estimate that over 60% of all IBS cases are being caused by SIBO. If this is true, 25 million people are finally being given a diagnosis they can dig into. For those suffering from these mysterious digestive symptoms, SIBO can be a beacon of hope, an answer that has escaped them during years of bouncing between doctors, and one that actually has a path to treatment. The only problem? That path is so damn complicated. Up Schitt's Creek without a roadmap. There's no one approach to SIBO, which is what often makes patients so confused. I should know, since I was one of them. Even the best doctors who are brilliant at the what often forget about or don't have time to explain the why or the how. This was the case when I first got my Hashimoto's thyroiditis diagnosis, and it was also what happened when I tested positive for SIBO. While I saw an extremely capable, functional MD who knew to dig deeper, once I got the diagnosis of SIBO, I walked away with a single piece of paper advertising a low FODMAP diet, meal spacing, and a regimen of herbal antimicrobials. And I knew I was lucky to even get that much advice. Since I just can't help but make my medical struggles ammunition for a whole new stream of resources for my audience, I immediately went home and hopped down the SIBO internet rabbit hole. What I discovered was a mountain of options, many of which contradicted one another. I began digging further, attending virtual seminars, and even going so far as to take an online course to become a SIBO certified practitioner. As I researched, I curated, and I synthesized. And as always, I shared my findings with my readers on my website, Feed Me Phoebe. The response was instantaneous and overwhelming. I received hundreds of comments, messages, and emails from chronic SIBO sufferers and the newly diagnosed. Notes telling me that they, too, had once gone to the ends of the internet to find solutions, and that my series was one of the most comprehensive